Imagine jamming your face full of literal threads to pull your skin back to achieve a negative or positive canthal tilt. I don't know what these guys want anymore, but looks maxing, that's what we're talking about. Looks maxing, trying to look impeccably good, undeniably attractive to achieve the halo effect. How can you look so attractive that you could walk up to any girl and pull her number? Or as a female, how could you look so attractive to, do females even need to do something like that? I think you just exist and it's, I don't know. Anyways, Clavicular. We talked about him before in a previous video. This kid is actually insane. From taking Tren at 18 years old to literally pinning his face full of needles to pull it together in order to achieve a positive canthal tilt. Something like this. Do I have a positive canthal tilt already? I think this is a positive canthal tilt. Is that more attractive?
Hey Bobby, look, I'm American. I think I'll use my credit card.
Anyways, it's not ending there. He's done a lot more, from crazy facial treatments, wanting to get surgery, getting his face reconstructed, like completely reconstructed, having multiple facial surgeries, or at least trying to afford them. And mind you, this is a kid we're talking about, someone under 20 years old. Probably one of the worst ideas to put out there on the internet is to modify one's body using drugs, literal self-done surgery, really expensive surgery, spending up to sometimes 5 figures to look a specific way. It's radical, especially for someone who's under 20 years old, kind of preaching that this is the path to get the halo effect. This is the path to look more attractive. But we have an update on him. Something new has happened, and I don't even know if I'm surprised, if this is what I expected, or if this is completely something that just shows he's spinning downward really fast.
What's going on, guys? It's Clav here. I want to do a quick little YouTube video in my new and improved studio, you know, because I haven't really done a lot of content. I've been dealing with some stuff in court. I got a DUI, so I guess I'll have a little bit more time to do YouTube.
So right out the gates, we look at his most recent video and he gives us an update. Just like all of his videos, he gives us an update at where he's been for the past several weeks, because he, once again, hasn't uploaded, hasn't been consistent, which he admits himself, but people still love him. And he has a DUI. He has a DUI already in his life. One DUI. I think things are going down the right path if you ask me. To achieve a DUI at this age is actually perplexing. Actually so perplexing. I guess at any point in life it's perplexing, but at this age, that's crazy.
My biggest point of contention recently has been online dating, and I've been really getting my ass handed to me, and it's put me in a really bad state of mind. This shit is getting under my skin, so I figure I might as well do a complaining segment and kind of inform you guys on what's got me so uptight. I was so mad when I was making this. I turned red after about 2 minutes of thinking about online dating. Okay, this shit is an utter absurdity that it allows to go on, because this has got to be the main dopamine crisis of the century.
Imagine this. A kid spends all of his time trying to modify his self-image, his outward appearance, but never actually takes care of himself, his own psychology, and his ability to approach people, talk to them, and even convince them to possibly go on dates with him. Imagine that someone so consistently concerned with themselves is unable to attract people who are willing to, I'm sure, talk to people who are very outgoing and willing to communicate with other people, willing to sacrifice a little bit of themselves to spend time with that other person. And that's a good relationship. I think that's how you start relationships, is at first you have this sort of offset, right? You have self-interest really low, and that's how you get someone in the door, because your interest in them is really high. And then over time, the relationships come back to like this point where your self-interest kind of matches your interest in them. And so things change a little bit. But when you begin a relationship, self-interest is always super low and interest in the individual is really high. And likely the same goes for them. But when you're just self-interest all the time is up here, and you're so worried about how you look, how you approach people and getting laid, you're taking Tren and you're doing all these other things to try to appeal yourself to other people. Yeah, I don't know if those skills really garner any sort of fruition. They don't grow. You don't cultivate a personality. You just become this sort of interesting individual that becomes isolated in his own little bubble. It's weird.
Weird.
It's kind of just very unhealthy, I think. And to talk about this even more, because I think it's so important, when someone uses anabolic steroids, specifically Trenbolone 2, this is so important, and specifically specifically adolescents. Like this study says here, specifically, it is plausible that adolescent exposure causes increases in trait levels of impulsivity and aggression. Adolescent AAS users report significantly higher levels of impulsivity, aggression, and risk-taking behaviors than other controls. And this is in a group compared to people who are of age taking anabolic steroids, whatever that's really classified as, to youth. That's the control. So imagine you control someone like this, like you put a control next to them who is maybe grown a little bit and not taking AAS, how radically outfield they are. And I think we just see this. We're talking about a guy who's got a DUI, who tries to jump his ass through loops to get all of these random surgeries and perform these self-surgical procedures at his house, and taking trenbolone at a young age. I mean, we are talking about a true impulsive behavior set right here in front of us, real time.
I don't know where I'm going wrong, which is why it's so frustrating. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm supposed to say. And there's just no real way to be logical. And when you're texting these girls, there's no feedback system. They'll just stop texting you out of nowhere. Like, you'll just be texting a girl, having a normal conversation, just no reply. Casper the ghost.
So what he's referring to is women ghosting him, probably because now he can't drive his own car. He is too concerned about his self-image to spend time with anybody else, and doesn't probably have anything interesting to bring to the table.
Boring.
Yeah, I don't know. When I talk to women, there's a lot of things I can say. I've traveled the world, I've lived in other countries, I've operated multiple businesses, I have real estate, I have drive motorcycles, I have, you know, a nice and fast car, like all of these things, right? And I'm not saying I'm better than you. I'm just saying, like, these are things that you can talk about, and they lead to huge and massive conversations about people's values and their opinions and all of these really cool things. But when you're just sort of like a kid in his room, you know, pinning himself with Tren and injecting his face, disparity between interesting and non-interesting sort of closes, and you begin to not be so interesting to someone who is looking for a partner that might provide them some sort of experience or something to learn or they could look up to. And I think what we're experiencing here, what Clavicular is experiencing, is just being ghosted, dude, from taking anabolic steroids, creating an impulsive environment, getting a DUI. His track record on paper doesn't look so hot, and I think it's pretty clear to see if your mom's dropping you off at the date, you're not doing so great. You're not doing so great already.
How about you do me the courtesy of, after all these conversations and text messages, you think I would have talked about your hobbies? Bitch, I want to get in your fucking pants, god damn it. I want to fuck you, and I want to convince you that I'm not trying to fuck you, which is why I'm having the conversation.
There's your answer. Probably the reason that you're getting ghosted is because it's way too blatantly obvious that you're just trying to manipulate a woman so that you can get into her pants and do a hookup, which, to be honest, it's a disgusting culture. It's a very real culture in the United States, but he's probably pursuing these women for one thing only, and it's pretty detectable. I think women have a pretty good LiDAR to when men are doing this types of behavior. Now, some women don't mind. They still know it's happening, but they don't really care.
Do you just look at my boobs?
Other women definitely aren't looking for that, and so if they're not interested, they're probably just gonna shut off right there and then.
Hey! My eyes are up here, man.
Wow, this is turning into a dating video really quick, and I don't want it to be that. More just a update on the insanity of what Clavicular is doing.
So I've got excellent pictures, NT location. You think I'd be the most normal motherfucker in the world, okay? It's not like these girls are watching videos like this. They're not watching my YouTube channel of me being a train wreck, injecting fat dissolvers and putting shit into my eyes. They don't know that shit. I got pictures with my family, going out to dinner, doing regular activities. I could be a regular old motherfucker and they wouldn't even know it. But still, I have a high rate of matching. I do well. I get a ton of matches on Tinder, ton of matches on Hinge, more than I know what to do with at this point. But the issue is, you'll have a conversation and then you try to go and make plans and they just can never be
Yeah, so this is the halo effect at work. It's the glorious effect that everyone is concerning themselves with and trying to achieve when they're looks maxing. But the problem is, if you don't have a foundation to the house you've built, it all sort of just crumbles down the shitter. So basically, if you're an empty person, if you don't have much value to provide outside of your looks or attraction, you kind of just are this empty person. You're not really that much of a value add to someone's life, more of a detractor, to be honest. So it's interesting, right? It's interesting because what we see is someone who's going to the furthest extent to look attractive for other people and for himself, I'm sure, yet fumbling so many times down that path that he's not able to get dates. He's not able to get hookups. He's getting DUIs, and God knows what the hell is going to happen to him within the next 2 years even. And here's a solid piece of advice. If you're trying to looks max, if you're trying to be the most attractive individual in the circle that you're in, the best way to probably do that is, one, focus on your character traits, like developing a good character that has a lot of value to add to someone's life, because I think undeniably almost everyone would agree that that's one of the most important features of a true man able to get other women, right? And two, I think your looks are going to be massively improved without doing any of this radical stuff if you just lose weight. And this is something I say so many times for guys that want to actually improve their facial architecture, how their face sits and looks, and specifically how they fit into clothes. Losing weight is amazing ideas. Like if you're 15% body fat, going down to 13 or 12% body fat can improve your face so much, and you just have like an amazing jawline that pops out of nowhere. But if you keep screwing around and keep letting yourself get a little bit too, fluffy, it's not a great look. It's not a great look. And when you go like this and you have like a triple chin, pretty obvious in almost every picture, yeah, you're gonna take away a little bit of that attraction. You don't need to do facial injections. You don't need to do, threading to get negative canthal tilt or whatever. You don't need to do massive surgeries to restructure your face and get chin implants and all of these other things, nose jobs and stuff. Look, if you want to do those things, totally get it. But if your concern in doing them is to be attractive, I think there's some really easy steps to take first before going down that route, which is definitely losing weight. You might ask me, how can I lose weight? Look, I'm not even trying to plug it. There's a free school group down below. We offer coaching programs for free, nutritional programs for free. Everything's taken care of there for you. So if you really need help, that's a great resource down there. But truly, it is simple as increasing your protein intake, entering a slight and moderate calorie deficit. So find out where your weight is sticking stable. How much do you have to eat for your weight to maintain? Maybe let's just say it's 2,500 calories. Now what you're going to do is you're going to reduce, let's say 250 calories from the total calorie intake that you have. So now you're eating 2,250 calories. A good portion of that is protein, somewhere around 1 to 1.5 grams per pound of body weight. Why do I say 1.5 instead of 1? Because protein is very thermogenic. If you eat more of it, you waste more energy, and therefore leading to a better result when you're cutting. Also, you want to be weight training at least 3 times a week with progressive overloading, training as close proximity to failure as you can, meaning if there is a bar and you're pressing it off of you, that's not the end of the set. The end of the set is when you're like, oh my fucking God, and you're trying to like hold that fucking weight up and you're trying to push it up, It's like, holy shit, I don't know if I'm gonna fucking do this, man, I don't know. And you finally get it up. That's the last rep, okay? A little bit of an exaggeration in my movements there, but it's true. And then do a little bit of cardio. The American Heart Institute recommends 10,000 steps per day, okay? 10,000 steps per day. The average American gets 3,000 steps per day. So if you just bump your steps up to 10,000 steps per day, you're not only serving yourself health-wise, but you're also going to be turning a lot more fuel, getting leaner in the process. This is the path. If you want to look attractive, you don't need to do some of this radical stuff. You can truly just lose some weight. A few pounds here and there really does a lot, trust me, and maybe work on your personal development. Like your personal development as a person. Be a person. Have substance. Stop doing this all day long and get into this path of thinking, man, I have to looks max. Swipe. These people are so attractive. I'm not this attractive, dude. In the reality of the true world, when you go down and you touch fucking grass, no one cares. No one actually cares that much. So whatever, I don't know. Subscribe or something. It helps me a lot. The sponsor of this channel is me. So if you could help, it would be so cool to grow community, to be here with you, to make these videos, to help educate, to help inform, and to talk about weird stuff like this. I'd love to see you in the next video. So stick around.